So I, like a lot of people, am playing around with ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence, and it really is just such a treasure box. The more you look, the more you find. And obviously, we're running a lunch and learn session on this on the 24th of August. It's a Thursday, unusually, but that's because of the bank holiday weekend. I know a lot of people will be going away. And the lunch and learn is going to be focusing on using artificial intelligence to design live training, because an awful lot of what I've seen, and there's lots of it out there, doesn't really cover live training. So the writing of the session plans in particular, the writing of the exercises, and things like that. So at our lunch and learn, that's very much what we're going to be focused on, is using AI to help design live training. So we'll be looking at scoping out those sessions, putting more meat on the bones in terms of your session plan, using AI, in particular Canva, to design your PowerPoint slides and your workbooks. So we've got an awful lot to cover. Obviously, in 90 minutes, we're only going to be able to cover so much. So the plan is there will be follow-up sessions if people are interested in that. But I definitely want to give you something that you can take away and use in each of those 4 areas. So that's what we are doing. Just to give you a little teaser, a little taster, I've been looking at how I could use it in the sort of design that I would typically do. And I'm just going to take 3 or 4 minutes to quickly show you what I've done on that. So one of the things I often had to do as a training designer, and mostly I was training for other facilitators, was to reference various personality profiling tools. The facilitator was qualified, but obviously there was a team of facilitators, and so I know a lot about most of the different personality profiling tools, but I'm actually not qualified in using them because I don't go out there and deliver it. So I know a little bit, but I don't know as well, obviously, as the people who are qualified and who are facilitating. So I thought it would be an interesting experiment to see how I could use ChatGPT to help me design that part of a training course. So I've preloaded all of this just so that you don't have to watch me typing. So I've told Chat what it is. It's a facilitator running a workshop to explore DISC. And what that means in terms of behaviours and working preferences. So firstly, I'm checking that it knows what I'm talking about, because if it doesn't, I need to educate it. And as you can see, it's familiar with DISC, and it's given me a lovely summary there. So I know enough about DISC to know, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the same thing, which is brilliant. So now, I thought I'm going to describe an exercise to you. When I've loaded it, can you tell me what behaviours a facilitator should be looking for during the exercise? And this is where the live training element is different, because we're not just about providing information. I need, in my role as a training designer, to provide guidance to the facilitator. So I have uploaded my exercise here. It's one that's in the VIP resources. It's called Domino Fuse. So there's all the information that Chat needs. So it talks to me. It says it sounds like an engaging activity, which it is. And it's telling me this is what we should be looking for to identify each style. And I think adding this sort of thing into your session plan is so helpful, because even if that facilitator knows DISC inside out, it lightens the load for them because it's all here, rather than having to think about all the other things that they're having to do when they're facilitating. So, and it's telling you at which stage to look for the various behaviours as well. The way I've set this particular exercise up, we've got Team A and Team B. I've got slightly different briefs, so there should be a slight difference in behaviour, and it's picked up on that, what that ought to be as well. So, and it's showing me, this is what dominance is going to look like at various stages. This is what influence is going to look like at various stages. Look out for creative approaches, incorporating more elaborate elements, being patient listeners, because obviously something like that can be quite difficult to spot because it tends to go under the radar. So I thought that was, that was really good, and there's enough there for me to add into a session plan to give the facilitator some guidance. So that's brilliant. So we've done the exercise. Or the facilitator has noted their observations, and then we need to lead a discussion with participants to help them spot those behaviours in action. So I've asked it to suggest 4 good questions and the kind of responses I should be looking for to explore those behaviours demonstrated. So again, these are only starters for 10. That's all we can ever do as a learning designer anyway, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the training room, but we're expecting that something like this will happen. And so there's the question to pose. These are the sorts of things that we ought to be looking for, asking for enhancements on. How do they communicate? What were some of the collaborative strategies used? Again, you can highlight particular things that you heard or you said. If there are any setbacks or unexpected challenges, let's have a look at that. So we can look for evidence of steadiness with that, and then conscientiousness and that attention to detail. So again, it's just really helping you to focus those discussions and listen for the right responses. So moving on from that, let's extend the learning. So which 3 ways is each style going to be useful at work, and 3 ways in which each of the behaviours may cause problems. Now, obviously, your experienced facilitator who knows DISC knows this. However, when you write like I did, which was for large organisations, and there may be 4, 5, 6 different facilitators running these courses, we need to know that there's consistency and they're pulling out the right sorts of things. So again, adding guidance into your session notes is so very important. So here we can talk about when the high D is useful and when it's not so useful. We can see there all of these things which I can not just copy and paste, because you do need to check it, you do need to put it into context, you do need to make sure that it's meeting your own objectives, but it's an absolutely fantastic starting point. And then the last thing to look at in this particular case is, so that's great, but I'm working with retail managers in dry cleaning shops. So how might those behaviours show themselves up in that sort of person? So we can now help to make the learning much more relevant. We can help give it some context, which is going to make it more applicable back in the workplace. So again, I've had a look at these and I know this industry a little bit, and I think I could take this to a slightly more detailed, slightly more bespoke level. But the fact is, it's giving me enough to give me the prompts for my brain to go, oh yes, and I can enhance that. So it is really speeding up my thought process. It's stopping me sitting there for sort of 15 minutes going, oh, what would that mean in their situation? They've given me enough of an example that it sparks something off in my own knowledge, in my own memory, and I can write something that's really meaningful for that particular audience. So that's just another way that we can use artificial intelligence to really help us with our training design. So all very interesting stuff. So if you want to come along to our session on the 24th, make sure that you book your place. VIP members, of course, you come along for free. It's all part of your membership deal. And I would love to see you there. But do let me know that you're coming, because we want to know numbers. And if you're not a VIP member, you can book your place as a guest, or come and join us in the VIP membership and you can come along for free. I will see you then.